The distress call tore across the void like a blade through silence. Captain Zara Chun felt the vibration ripple through the frame of her ship before the sound reached her ears. The Defiance promise trembled as the beacon cut through. 27 light-years away from the closest settled system. In 15 years of commanding deep space missions, she had never encountered anything like it. "Captain," called Lieutenant Morrison from communications, his voice taut with unease. "You'll want to hear this." The bridge fell into silence as the recording played. Static hissed, sharp and grating. Then a voice emerged, alien, frantic, struggling with broken galactic standard. This is Ambassador Kethar of the Ethereal Collective. If anyone is receiving, the Devourers have returned. They have seized the core worlds. Billions lost. The Galactic Council is gone." The signal collapsed into static, then repeated. Dot and Chun exchanged a glance with her first officer, Commander Sarah Kim, whose eyes mirrored the disbelief twisting her own thoughts. The Galactic Council had endured for over a millennium, ruling 47 species across hundreds of systems. It had been the spine of civilization itself. "Run a deep scan analysis," Chun ordered. "I want the signal's origin confirmed." "Already. Working, Captain," Ensign Torres replied from the science console. Her hands danced swiftly over the holographic keys. "Degradation shows about 6 hours old." Morrison frowned. "That's not possible." "What isn't?" Chun asked. Torres looked up, face drained of color. "It came from Galactic Central, the capital of the entire council. If something happened there 6 hours ago, we should have received formal updates long before now." Commander Kim stepped closer. "Unless no one remains to send them." The crew traded uneasy glances. Chun had spent her life in the Terran colonial fleet, yet humanity had joined the galactic community only half a century ago. Still newcomers, barely trusted with outer rim patrols. Morrison's voice cut through. "Another signal incoming. Different. Put it through." This time the voice that filled the air was cold, metallic, and monstrously alien. It did not speak galactic standard, but a tongue older, more primal. The ship's translator strained to render meaning. "Your civilization has grown weak. You have forgotten the cost of survival. We are the Devourers. We are the harvest. Submit your worlds, and your end shall be merciful." The broadcast repeated thrice, then fell silent. Chun felt a shiver crawl down her spine. In every record, in every ancient text she'd studied at the academy, the Devourers were only whispers, a vanished race said to have disappeared eons ago. Scholars dismissed them as myth, stories to frighten the young. "Ensign Torres," Chun said, voice calm though fear gripped her throat. "What do the archives hold on the Devourers?" Torres's fingers flew across her console. "Almost nothing, Captain. The accounts are fragmentary, mostly unreliable, but certain details repeat. Descriptions of beings who consume entire civilizations, not simply for resources, but for something deeper, something translators cannot define." "Life force," Commander Kim murmured. "That's what old Earth myths called it. Creatures that fed on the essence of the living." Chun faced her crew. 23 men and women who had enlisted for exploration and trade escorts, not war against nightmare legends. They deserved the truth. "Here's what we know," she said firmly. "The Galactic Council has likely fallen. Something calling itself the Devourers has taken the core worlds. And right now, we may be the only Terran vessel in sector." "What are your orders, Captain?" Kim asked. Chun's gaze lingered on the star chart projected across the main display. The nearest human colony sat 12 light-years away. Earth itself nearly 30. But between safety and home stretched the core worlds, the very heart of galactic order. "We investigate," she decided. "If the Council has truly collapsed, then every race in the galaxy is imperiled. Humanity. Included. Captain, Morrison interjected, I'm detecting additional distress signals, dozens now. The main display shifted, painting a three-dimensional map of the spiral arm. Red beacons pulsed across space like a spreading infection, each a system in agony. They're advancing quickly, Torres noted. Whatever propulsion they employ is beyond anything in our records. Chun's eyes followed the multiplying red, each one a reminder of millions, billions, at stake. If the Devourers pressed forward unchecked, human space would fall within days. Set course for Kepler Station, maximum speed. Captain, Kim said softly, that's directly in their path. We may be flying into annihilation. Perhaps, Chun replied, or perhaps we're the only ones left to intervene. The Defiance promise shifted course, engaging its faster-than-light engines. To Chun, it felt as though they sailed toward the edge of all they had known. Behind them lay the familiar. Before them stretched darkness. Yet sometimes, she thought, darkness was where light was revealed. Kepler Station floated ahead, a broken jewel adrift in the stars, its light stammering out distress against the void. Once the greatest trade hub of the galaxy, it now resembled a dying ember, debris fields bleeding outward from its shattered frame. "My God," whispered Kim as they approached. "What happened here?" Chun studied the tactical readout. Entire. Arcs of the outer ring had been torn away, not cleanly cut or burned, but savaged, as though by claws vast beyond comprehension. Docking bays gaped to space, their cargo spilled like toys from a smashed chest. Detecting survivors, Torres reported. Roughly 300 souls clustered in the central hub. Environmental systems failing across most decks. Devourers' presence. She hesitated, brow creased over the readings. None. But something is wrong. Energy traces suggest the station itself has been drained. Chun's expression hardened. Prepare to dock. Security on alert. Open a direct channel to whoever still holds command. The response crackled through static, broken by interference. A voice emerged, faint, ragged. This is the administrator of Kepler Station. Who is this? Administrator, this is Captain Zara Chun of the Terran vessel Defiance Promise. We received your signals. Report status. A silence, then a sound, sobbing, or a choke. They're gone, Veltar whispered. The Devourers, they came 3 hours past. They didn't just destroy, they consumed. People, power cores, even atmosphere ripped from whole sections, feeding on the station itself. Chun's blood chilled. How many remain? 312 souls. From a population of 50,000. We run on emergency reserves. Life support is failing. Captain, please, tell me the fleet is on its way. Please say the Council has sent relief. Chun closed her eyes. Administrator, listen to me carefully. We believe the Council itself is under siege. We may be the only aid arriving. The silence that followed dragged on for nearly a minute. Understood, Veltar said at last, his voice carrying a hollow weight of defeat. We'll prepare for evacuation. Negative. We can't take 300 passengers, and even if we did, where would we go? Every system is aflame. Then what do you propose, Captain? Veltar asked. Chun's gaze swept her crew, finding her own resolve. Mirrored back. We fight. 2 hours later, Chun stood inside the shattered command center of Kepler Station, gathered with the most improbable council of war in galactic history. Administrator Veltar, a towering crystalline being of the Silicon Collective, sat across. From Dr. Aller Thorne, a human scientist who had been analyzing ancient relics when the assault began. Beside them loomed Commander Rask, a scarred Cortharian soldier whose squad had been stranded on leave when the Devourers struck. "Tell me what happened," Chun demanded. Veltar's crystalline features shifted in anguish. "They struck without warning. No fleet, no ships. Nothing appeared on sensors until it was too late. What do you mean, no ships? Chun pressed. They materialized, Thorne interrupted, leaning forward. I was in the xenoarchaeology lab. The first wave appeared as though they'd stepped through reality itself. Impossible! Raske roared, slamming a fist against the table. No known science. No known science, Thorne agreed. But I've studied the predecessor runes from the Veil Nebula. The inscriptions describe something similar, beings who folded space, who crossed dimensions at will. Chun fixed her eyes on him. You think the Devourers are tied to the predecessors. I think they are the predecessors, or what remains of them. The room went still. The predecessors were legend, an ancient civilization said to have seeded the galaxy with technology millions of years ago before vanishing without trace. Most academics dismiss them as myth, a convenient patch for mysteries too vast to solve. If that's true, Chun said grimly, then they wield powers beyond our comprehension. How do you fight gods? The way humanity always has, Chun answered herself. With improvisation. She turned to Thorne. The artifacts you've studied, any insights into their weapons, their nature? Possibly. The translations are fragmentary, but the texts mention the Great Hunger, a calamity consuming a civilization from within. Clearer passages describe a transformation, beings of light collapsing into shadow, creation devouring itself. Raske growled. Pretty words. What does it mean for killing them? Thorne held his gaze. It means they weren't always monsters. If they became this, then they can be unmade. Before anyone could speak, alarms screamed across the station. Morrison's voice cut through the chaos. Captain, return immediately. We've got incoming. Chun surged to her feet. Devourers? Something else. This realm. We are the harmony of the eternal song. We seek the one called Chun, leader of the humans. Chun traded a sharp glance with Commander Kim. This is Captain Chun. Who are you? And how do you know my name? We are the last who recall the first silence. We have heard your species' defiant chorus in the dark. You alone have not yielded to despair. The lead vessel glided nearer, its hull alive with cascading light. Chun now saw clearly. It was not metal, at all but something living, grown rather than built. We don't understand, Chun pressed. What is the first silence? The age when the Devourers last walked the stars, when the galaxy fell to the Great Hunger, and only fragments survived to sing new songs. We hid in the spaces between spaces, waiting. Now they rise again, and the symphony of existence nears its final movement. Dr. Thorne's voice crackled from Kepler Station. Captain, those ships register massive quantum fluctuations. The energy patterns match predecessor artifacts I've been studying, pieces of a vast riddle locked together in Chun's mind. You knew the predecessors. We were their children, the melodic voice answered. And the Devourers were their shadow. When the Great Hunger consumed our creators, some fled to dimensional margins. Others embraced the dark and became what you now confront. So the Devourers were once like you? Chun asked. They were the brightest among us. They sang creation songs, shaping matter with thought. But desire grew. They hungered for more than being itself. They sought to feed on the essence of life, to become all that ever was or would be. Commander Ross's gravelly voice cut in. Fascinating. But can you help us fight them? The alien vessel pulsed, almost in amusement. Direct battle is futile. The Devourers have transcended physical form. They dwell in the folds between dimensions, feeding on the quantum foundation of reality itself. Your weapons cannot touch them. Chun's heart sank. Then how? There is another way. The song of binding, sung once by our creators. It needs voices of many species, harmonies woven across dimensional boundaries. Humanity carries something rare, chaotic creativity that can fracture rigid patterns. You're describing some kind of psychic weapon, Chun said. Not a weapon, a key. The devourers are bound to endless hunger because they forgot what it means to be whole. The song of binding can remind them what they were before shadow devoured them. Thorn's voice flared with excitement. Captain, this matches the predecessor texts. References to a harmony of redemption that could heal the great hunger. I thought it was legend. Myth becomes truth when no other choice remains, Chun finished. She scanned the chamber. The faces of her crew, Administrator Veltar's crystalline sorrow, Raska's scarred defiance, an impossible alliance, born of desperation. What must we do? Gather voices from as many species as possible. Each contributes its own resonance. And together, we must travel to the galaxy's heart, the place where the first silence began. Kim leaned forward. That's Galactic Central. By all reports, already consumed. Which is why we must go, the alien replied. The devourers always return to the beginning. It is their nature to devour the source of what they once were. Chun rose, decision hardening into clarity in her mind. How long do we have? The quantum resonance cascade they triggered will reach critical mass in 72 of your hours. After that, dimensional walls collapse completely. The devourers will feed not just on this galaxy, but on every galaxy joined through the quantum foam. The entire universe, Chen whispered. All of existence. Yes. Their hunger has outgrown galaxies. They now seek to devour reality itself. The weight of impossible responsibility pressed onto Chun's shoulders. 72 hours to save not just a galaxy, but the universe, with 23 humans, 300 survivors from scattered species, and alien allies whose sciences were as strange as their philosophies. All right, she said at last. Signal every remaining vessel in this sector. Anyone who can fight, anyone who can sing, anyone unwilling to vanish quietly. We'll give the devourers something they haven't known in millions of years. What's that, Captain? Torres asked. Dr. Chun's grim smile spread as alien ships formed up beside her vessel. A fair fight. Yet she knew fair was the wrong word. What they planned was either the most desperate gamble in recorded history or the most spectacular suicide mission ever attempted. Either way, humanity was about to answer a summons that had echoed across the stars for millions of years. The fleet mustered at the rendezvous beyond the Veil Nebula was unlike anything seen before. 18 ships from 12 species, from the organic vessels of the Harmony to the crystalline constructs of the Silicon Collective. At the center hovered the Defiance's promise, a modest human patrol craft that had somehow become flagship of the last free alliance. Captain Chun stood in the expanded command center established aboard Kepler Station, now a mobile command base after urgent repairs. Around her, the most varied gathering of beings she had ever seen labored, furiously, preparing for what all of them suspected was a suicide mission. "Status report," she called. Dr. Thorne looked up from her console, where endless data from the predecessor relics streamed across layered holographic displays. The song matrix is as complete as possible without live testing. Each species must contribute its harmonic signature at exactly the right instant. And if the timing fails? Chun asked. Thorne's face was grim. Best case, nothing. Worst case, we trigger a quantum resonance cascade that hastens the devourers' consumption of reality. Commander Rask rumbled from the tactical station. So either we save the universe or doom it faster. Wonderful odds. One of the Harmony envoys, who called herself Melody, drifted closer. Her body now steadier than when they had arrived. She assumed a fluidly humanoid outline, glowing like liquid light. "Doubt breeds dissonance," she intoned musically. "The song demands absolute unity. Fear will unravel all we intend." "Easy for you to say," muttered Ensign Torres. "You're an energy being. The rest of us are meat and stone. If this fails, we die." Melody shimmered with what felt like sorrow. "Child of Earth, do you think death the worst fate before us? The Devourers do not simply end. They erase so utterly it is as if it never was. Your loved ones, your memories, your species' note in the cosmic symphony, gone from the quantum foundation itself." Silence weighed across the command center as the meaning struck home. Chun had read the reports from worlds already consumed. No ruins, no wreckage, no survivors. No memory civilization had ever existed. There. Absolute ontological erasure. "Captain," Morrison's voice cut through from communications. "We're receiving a transmission from the forward scout." The main screen came alive, revealing Lieutenant Zhang aboard the recon vessel Swift Current. Her face was ashen, voice taut with fear. "Captain, we've reached the outer rim of the central system. You need to see this." The feed shifted to an exterior view. Where once 5 inhabited worlds orbited a steady yellow star, home to more than 15 billion souls, now there was nothing. No star, no wreckage, not even empty space. A void so absolute it hurt to perceive. "The system is gone," Zhang whispered. "Not destroyed. Erased. Space-time folded inward. It's as if reality itself has a hole torn through it." Chun felt her blood run cold. "Life signs?" "Captain, there's no space left to contain life. The Devourers didn't just consume the system, they consumed the possibility it ever was." Dr. Thorne's hands flew over her console. "This changes everything. If they can erase space-time itself, then the quantum cascade is accelerating faster than projected." "How much faster?" Chun demanded. "We don't have 72 hours, 6 at best, maybe less." The command center erupted into a storm of controlled chaos as recalculations began. Chun's gaze lingered on the impossible nothingness. Where civilization's heart had once burned, the weight of responsibility pressing down. "Can we still make this work?" she asked. The Harmony representative's form wavered, flickering between coherence and dissolution. "The song must be sung at the point of origin, where the first silence began." "But the central system is gone," Chun cut in sharply. "Then we sing it in the void. We make it strong enough to pierce the dimensional barrier, to reach whatever remains of what the Devourers once were." Commander Kim's voice carried grim concern. "Captain, you're proposing flying directly into a space-time anomaly, actively erasing existence. Even if we reach it, how do we know the song will matter?" Chun turned, meeting the eyes of every being in the chamber, flesh, crystal, and energy alike. All of them had lost worlds. All faced annihilation. "We don't know," she admitted. "But 67 hours ago, none of us even knew the others existed. 48 hours ago, we thought the Devourers were legend. 6 hours ago, we thought we had 3 days left. The only certainty is that everything keeps changing." She straightened, her words cutting through the growing silence. "But one thing remains constant. In every species, every culture the Devourers have consumed, there's always been someone who stood when all else failed, someone who looked into the abyss and said, 'Not today.'" She opened the fleet-wide comms, her voice resonating across every allied ship. "Today we are that someone. Humanity and every one of you standing with us are going to sing a song not heard in millions of years. And maybe, just maybe, we'll remind the universe what it sounds like when existence itself fights back."